for example, Trump's been briefed. When I know, for example, Trump's been briefed, he's scared. He's scared they're going to kill him if he reveals what he knows.
You can do it, baby. I love you so much. You can do it, baby. I love you so much.
He's scared.
You can do it, baby. I love you so much. You can do it, baby. I love you so much.
He's scared.
Bad news, bad things are happening. Mom, I'm sorry. Bad news, bad things are happening. Mom, I'm sorry.
He's scared.
Bad news, bad things are happening. Mom, I'm sorry. Bad news, bad things are happening. Mom, I'm sorry.
He's scared.
This David Grush guy sounds like a nut. This David Grush guy sounds like a nut. This David Grush guy sounds like a nut. This David Grush guy sounds like a nut.
We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours. Drones. We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours. Drones. We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours. Drones. We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours. Drones.
You can do it, baby. I love you so much.
We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours.
You can do it, baby. I love you so much.
We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours.
Greetings and salutations and welcome back. Today we're starting sort of a new series. We have covered a great deal of fake whistleblowers before, but things are getting even crazier out there. Like tonight's contestant on my favorite fake whistleblowers, who is a man who is literally in prison while he is pretending to be a UFO whistleblower. Now, we've covered him before, but I've done some additional work into debunking the various things that he shares. So not only is he doing his UFO whistleblowing from a jail cell, a prison cell, he's in prison, long-term state prison. But the funniest part of it is not only is he in prison and nobody seems to think that's a problem that a lifelong criminal is suddenly claiming to get, top secret briefings. Some of the briefings that he claims to have gotten, he was incarcerated at the time, and we have all the proof and evidence of that. But it gets worse, or maybe better, depending on your point of view, because it would appear that everything that he shares is a debunked hoax, on top of the fact that he's doing it from prison. And I think this says a lot about the credulity, I think that's the proper word, of the UFO community. So I've written a piece about this. In recent decades, the public discourse around unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, or now known as UAPs for some reason, has been punctuated by sensational claims from self-proclaimed UFO whistleblowers and other proponents and promoters of this phenomenon. And these so-called UFO whistleblowers allege to have secret government knowledge of extraterrestrial contact. And while some of these whistleblowers have contributed to broader transparency regarding military UAP, or unidentified anomalous phenomenon reports, a recurring pattern of fraud, hoaxes, and self-promotion, always for profit, persists among many of these prominent figures in this space. Tonight, we'll be critically examining some of the historical and contemporary patterns of this false whistleblowing within UFO culture. We'll explore some of the psychological and sociological mechanisms that facilitate public credulity. Yeah, that is the right word. We'll explore some of the common motifs of deception used by these figures and the role of media in amplifying their unverified, evidence-free claims. By examining some key case studies, like tonight's subject, Charles McNeel, we'll be highlighting how the UFO community often fails to police itself. Instead, nurturing a culture that privileges belief over evidence. So, of course, this thing UFOs, it's long straddled the line between the mysterious and the absurd. From Roswell to recent congressional hearings, claims of government cover ups and extraterrestrial technology have inspired both scientific inquiry and fringe speculation. In particular, the role of these so called UFO whistleblowers has become central to ufological narratives. These individuals often purport to possess insider government knowledge of secret programs involving alien technologies, non human intelligences, and sometimes interstellar diplomacy. However, a critical examination of these figures in most cases reveals that many or most of them offer little verifiable evidence for their stories and often recycle known hoaxes or pseudoscientific claims, mostly for personal profit or gain, fame, or, of course, financial profit. So there is a pattern of misinformation and self promotion among these so called UFO whistleblowers and also the media figures that promote them. And this can be traced back to at least the mid 20th century. Of course, there was George Adamski, one of the early contactees, perhaps the archetype of the early UFO contactee. Adamski claimed repeated contact with Venusians and other extraterrestrials. He presented doctored fake photographs and films and unverifiable narratives as evidence. Often, Adamski used other people in his schemes to defraud the public, claiming that they were witnesses, but many of them later recanted and told the truth that Adamski had asked them to lie for him. And despite his lack of credentials and frequent contradictions, Adamski attracted a global following, publishing best selling books and giving lectures internationally. His claims were demonstrably false. Venus, as we now know, is completely and totally uninhabitable. Yet his mythos still persists within the UFO lore. And then, of course, there's Bob Lazar, my favorite fake whistleblower. Arguably one of the most influential of the modern whistleblowers, Bob Lazar claimed to have worked on back engineering alien craft at a secret facility near Area 51. However, investigations into Lazar's background revealed he'd fabricated both his educational history and his work history. And there are elements of his employment record which cast doubt on his claims. Chief among them, he's a fake scientist. But despite this, Lazar remains a cult figure, bolstered by documentaries and social media platforms that often fail to critically assess his story. And then, of course, my favorite UFO wackadoo, Corey Goode, another one of my favorites. More recently, figures like Corey Goode have emerged, claiming involvement in fantastical secret space programs, time travel missions, and extraterrestrial diplomacy. Goode monetized his claims through paid speaking engagements, online courses, documentaries, merchandise, and even comic books. In 2023, he admitted under oath during legal proceedings that his narratives were largely fictional and that he viewed them as intellectual property rather than true stories or factual disclosures. So, the mechanics of modern UFO whistleblowers. I've noticed several patterns in how these UFO whistleblowers operate. Number one, credential inflation. Falsified or exaggerated educational and military histories are common. These are used to lend credibility to otherwise unverifiable, evidence free claims. Number two, unverifiable testimony. These UFO whistleblower stories are often supported solely by anecdotal evidence or stories with documentation either missing, claimed to be classified, or completely unverifiable. Number three, association with legitimate disclosures. Some of these UFO whistleblowers align themselves with legitimate governmental disclosures of real UAP sightings to enhance their credibility by proxy. Then, of course, number four is the commercialization of the so called UFO whistleblower. Many of these UFO whistleblowers profit from books, Patreon accounts, speaking fees, licensing deals, documentaries, live speaking fees, and more. creating a financial incentive to perpetuate the mythos and keep their stories going. Okay, so when we get into the UFO community, a critical yet underexamined aspect of the UFO whistleblower phenomenon is the willingness of audience to accept extraordinary claims without extraordinary evidence. This culture of credulity stems from several factors. Number one, existential longing and cognitive bias. I mentioned in my piece on non human intelligence that I believe humans have a longing to find non human intelligences, or the others, as I call them. Humans have a deeply rooted desire for some cosmic connection and hidden truths. The desire often overrides skepticism and critical thinking, leading to confirmation bias, a tendency to accept information that supports pre existing beliefs and ignore uh, disconfirming evidence or evidence that would prove the story is fake. Number two, distrust in institutions. Widespread skepticism towards governmental transparency fosters a climate where any anti establishment figure is presumed credible simply for challenging the official narratives. Number three, media amplification without verification. We are in the age of clickbait sensationalism. Podcasts, YouTube channels, and even news organizations and filmmakers producing documentaries often prioritize sensationalism over critical analysis, giving these so called UFO whistleblowers huge platforms without the proper vetting. Number four, community gatekeeping. Within ufology, criticism is often discouraged as so called debunking or being closed minded. This gatekeeping suppresses internal dissent and reinforces the echo chamber that allows these fake stories to continue. So, the predominance of false whistleblowers does more than just mislead the public. It actively undermines legitimate scientific and journalistic efforts to investigate anomalous aerial phenomenon or UFOs. When hoaxes are revealed, they taint the credibility of the broader field, allowing skeptics to dismiss all claims, regardless of their empirical merit. Moreover, the spread of disinformation from these fake UFO whistleblowers can distract from genuine data, de incentivizing rigorous inquiry. So, this proliferation of false UFO whistleblowers is not merely a curiosity, it's a case study in how belief, desire, and deception intersect in modern media cultures. As long as audiences fail to demand evidence and remain unwilling to critically assess sources, this so called study of ufology will continue to be dominated by self promoters and hoaxers. A more discerning and evidence based approach is essential if serious progress is to be made in understanding the UFO phenomenon, whether they actually have extraterrestrial origins or not. So these are some observations that I have made, and honestly, the UFO community has just completely destroyed the the meaning of the word whistleblower. It has no meaning anymore because everybody's suddenly a whistleblower because the clickbait merchants have figured out that if you just put UFO whistleblower in the title, everybody will click on it to see what the story is. So we're going to get into tonight's subject, Charles McNeel, because it's one of my favorite examples of, quite frankly, how stupid some people are. Pardon my pardon. Can I speak? Can I speak? Freely here. Yes, there's just a lot of stupid people in the UFO community that will readily accept the stories of some of these people without the critical examination that is required. And I just wanted to mention we have a very low goal tonight, and I originally prepared tonight's presentation for going on the Kino Casino. We never got around to this one. So I have a bunch of whoa buddies. And if we hit the goal tonight, we'll do the whoa buddies. Some really, really kind of gross stuff, honestly. But I will include those if we hit our goal tonight of 30 super chats, any denomination. And just so everybody is aware, we read every single super chat We thank every single person who becomes a subscriber on Kick or gifts a sub or gifts a membership on YouTube. And we thank all the PayPal pledges. We recognize everybody for the support. So let me get to my Google Drive folder. Just bear with me, friends. Okay, I got the folder. Okay, so we're going to begin with just a brief synopsis. So Charles McNeel entered the UFO community through UFO Spaces on Twitter, where it's interesting to me that if you're interested in UFOs, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's usually, anyway, there's a Twitter Spaces where people are talking about UFOs and aliens, and you can join and become a speaker. And so this is what Charles McNeel did. And shortly after he started joining Spaces with his fantastical stories, some people in the UFO community sort of, I suppose, co-signed for his stories. And we're going to start off, maybe a red flag would be that an admitted government paid disinformation agent is sort of co-signing for this so-called whistleblower or bolstering his story. Something very strange about an admitted government paid disinformation agent in the form of Richard Doty. You may be familiar with Richard Doty from the film Mirage Men. So Richard Doty co-signed for this guy, helping lend credibility to him. But Richard Doty is a fucking moron, and I don't think Richard Doty knew that this guy was joining Spaces from a prison cell somehow when he co-signed for him. So Doty says McNeel was part of a program called Operation Society Hike, an alleged program where the Air Force of Special Investigations would recruit and mentor civilian teenagers with the goal of making them intelligence officers. Doty claims deceased AFOSI officer Robert May was Charles McNeel's handler. So this is interesting, and we're just going to share this. Of course, this is from a Spaces. We're going to cite fair use. It's a transformative work. We're educating the public. And this is from a space where Richard Doty is saying, oh, yeah, that guy who is whistleblowing from prison, he's totally legit, right? Not suspicious at all that an admitted paid government disinformation agent would co-sign for a so-called UFO whistleblower who is literally a career criminal and has been in prison for decades.
There's a gentleman, and I use that term loosely, on this app, goes by the Whistleblower, and he talks about you quite often now. He's in prison, and he's in prison for like some bank robberies and
being a child molester as well. Also, Doty was told he was in prison.
He's got some
sorry, it's been a while since I reviewed this.
You're talking about Charles McNeel.
Yeah.
Yes, he has some convictions for statutory R. So he's basically also, besides being a convicted bank robber, Charles McNeel is also a convicted chomo or PDF file.
Charles, yeah, he talks about you a lot and says that that you've been a big influence to him, and his story is about as outrageous as it gets. So what has he shown Chris. You? Because he says that you believe him wholeheartedly. What has he shown you to make you believe that what he's saying is true at all?
I agree, Arlene. Yeah,
well, he hasn't shown me anything. It's his former handler, Robert May, retired OSI agent. He passed away. He was the one that told us about
what chipper.
Charles. Charles was recruited into a program called Society Hike. It was a program back in the
thank you, Steve Long. And I enjoyed your clips 90s. From Alex Jones today.
There were OSI agents or intelligence officers in it. Where they were.
For those unaware, Alex Jones on InfoWars today slammed the shit out of Lou Elizondo. You can find the clips on Steve Long's Twitter. Just search Twitter for Steve Long. It's funny to see. Like, I'm not a huge, I don't think that Alex Jones is any more credible than Lou Elizondo, but it's pretty funny that Alex Jones is basically calling out the Good Trouble Show propaganda guy, Matt Ford, and Lou Elizondo as basically running a disinformation psyop. It's wonderful.
Would recruit teenagers, and recruiting, I mean, they would just mentor teenagers to develop him into the intelligence career field. They'd pick a candidate or a teenager that had certain qualities that,
like being a chomo bank robber. I don't get it, Doty.
Could be used in the intelligence career field, and so they would mentor them up to the time they would go into college or go into the military, and then vet them into becoming an intelligence officer. It's quite a program, Society Hike, and it worked, for a lot of people. But unfortunately, in 2012, Charles got involved with the law, and then he was eliminated from the program. But from about 2005 or 6.
Okay, so after the government knew he was a PDF file and he was statutory R-ing underage girls and robbing banks, then they decided he wasn't good for the so stupid.
Until 2012, he was in fact in that program, and Bob May talked a lot about Charles and how well he was vetted, because first of all, the intelligence, in particular, counterintelligence, we don't go out and look for the Harvard graduate. We look for the type of people that have been in
He makes a lot of people's skin crawl.
Not afraid to back down on people and things like that. You got to have a special quality to do what the intelligence officers had to do every day.
Be a spook.
And
yes.
the intelligence operations force. Although I'm not saying it's like a SEAL course, but it's a pretty tough course, and a lot of people flunk out of it. So you got to be able to get through that course, and so that's why they vet these teenagers from a early age on. And it's similar to what Curtis LeMay did way back in the 50s and 60s, when Curtis LeMay, who was the chief of staff of the Air Force, he wanted to recruit the best of the best people to become,
I guess that makes sense,
aircraft pilots, primarily bomber pilots, because sometimes there are certain occasions there would probably be a one-way trip for these bomber pilots.
I forgot to mention, but it's also funny that an admitted paid government disinformation agent who was literally paid to disinform the public and spread fake UFO stuff is seen as some sort of celebrity in these Twitter spaces. If Richard Doty's in a space, there's all these stupid people that are hanging on every word of his. I myself, though, I have to admit, I interviewed him one time because I wanted to verify something for a writing project of mine. It turns out that Richard Doty's family has heavily been involved in the UFO file. His father was involved with UFOs for the United States government, and his uncle actually worked on Project Blue Book, which most people would agree was an attempt to disinform the public and play down the seriousness of the UFO sightings that were being seen.
If there was a time of war. So they did the same thing then. They'd recruit teenagers out of high school, and then through the college, and then through pilot training.
Richard is my top 5 UFO grifters. He's number 4.
That's what I can tell you about Charles.
Wait, so did you know about Society Hike firsthand? Like, did you have direct knowledge of it, or did you find out when Charles McNeel came on the scene and somebody told you about Society Hike? Like, when did you first hear about it?
No, I know about it. I'm a member of the Advanced Working Group of retired intelligence officers.
Yes, and Doty mentions this very often. Him and all the spooks get together. I want to take a moment to recognize the Kick Live chat and live chatters. We've got Winter Soldiers over there. Good Goy is over there. Miss Tari is over there. Winter Soldier is over there. Blazing Mad. Scopely CFO. is over there. And we've got Ray Gunner, Elisa Brittany, and Blazing Mad and Scopely UFO are all over there. So welcome to the Kick Chat. And I'll change to my creator dashboard so I could call out any support. One moment. All right, I got it. Let's continue here. I've got a lot to share on this guy. This is just the beginning of the presentation. If you're just joining us, welcome. And please do check out our new clips channel. I'll be putting it in both live chats. If you haven't already, we need you to subscribe over there so we can get the channel going and monetized. I appreciate your support.
And military person. And Bob May was in that group. And he often talked about it. He didn't talk about Charles at the time, but when Charles came out, it was, he talked about Charles.
You're right, Plan D. Always has a military or three-letter agencies involved.
So, but he did, we verified, not just Bob, but we could verify through other means that Charles was in fact in the program. Now, I didn't know Charles during that time.
Okay, so
I was never connected to this.
Here's a paid government disinformation agent telling us that some guy who's been a career criminal who molested underage girls and was arrested for that was a member of this secret, organization.
Society I was just told what it was from other OSI agents.
So can I have a follow-up question real quick? So you said, was he recruited to be a pilot or was he recruited to be intelligence?
I got probed in the showers, right? Yeah.
No, he was recruited to be intelligence. No, I didn't say. I said back in the 50s and 60s, Curtis LeMay had a program similar to Society High, which recruited teenagers to eventually become pilots. Charles was vetted to become an intelligence officer.
So was that
before he became a bank robber?
To go on to college and get a degree, and then take the AFOQT, and then be selected to be a 14
right.
in?
There's a lot of true believers in that space. Archaic Revival.
I would guess that's the way it worked. I wasn't involved in it, and I would think that they would recruit him at a very early age, like
it's a good idea. Science Evidence Fringe. I always have a list.
School, and then whatever they did afterwards through, college, like you said, or through a job in college. Or I'm not sure.
Let me.
And although
pin that.
There's some information on Society Hike on the internet, apparently it may be still classified or something, because I've tried and others have tried to get it, and Greenwald has tried to get it. And there's just a little bit that's leaked out, but not a whole lot. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Just for reference, up in the nest, I put Charles's record. So from the time he was 18 years old all the way up until, oh my God, right now, he's been pretty much in prison, in jail, or whatever. So it's a little hard to believe, given a guy that's been. Just given kind of what I do now, it's really, really, really hard to believe that story, because it does not check out on any box that I have ever heard of.
Yeah. So there's the average Chris who's quite skeptical, who basically is wrecking the disinformation attempt here, in my opinion. And it's interesting that Doty didn't change his story even after saying the guy was a, PDF file, and the guy was a convicted bank robber, and he spent his entire life from 18 forward in prison at various times. And so it's interesting that this guy comes into the UFO space, and of course he's instantly fundraising. It's very important to point out that he started, these methods by which people could send him money, even, in prison. I guess he can buy ramen noodles and stuff from the commissary with the money that people are sending him. And I have talked to multiple females that feel like he manipulated them into sending him money. Like he sweet talked these girls that are UFO fans, and then they send him money, and then he asks for more and more. Interesting. So I'm going to share this next tab, and I will go small here. And also, I keep forgetting to mention this, but people keep trying to friend me on Facebook, and I appreciate that. But, Facebook has a 5,000 friend limit. So just click the follow button and you'll still see me in your feed. And I'm sorry you can't be my friend on Facebook, but I'll still consider you a friend if you follow me. So just follow me on Facebook. I'm at the 5,000 friend limit. It's Stephen Cambion on Facebook. And the best place to follow me, though, for show information is on X or Twitter at Stephen Cambion. All right, so let's get into this guy's history. Charles B. McNeel claims briefings occurred from 2003 to late 2012, much of that time of which he was spending in prison. At 18 years old, he got convicted of corruption of minors, 2 counts, conspiracy, 4 counts, theft by receiving, 4 counts, unauthorized use of a car, 2 counts, and he got a sentence of time served and work release. He did 2 years probation, and he was ordered to have no contact with the minor that he was apparently engaged in a sexual relationship with. At 20 years old, work release and probation, but he continued to date the minor victim on and off again, despite the court ordering no contact. So from 18 to 21 years old, he's basically in a lot of trouble. But he gets off easy for the first offenses and does a work release program. Between 2005 and 2006, he was off probation in Pennsylvania. He was charged with theft under $100 in Maryland and got a 90-day sentence. Next, while he was 22 to 23 years old from 2007 to 2008, he got charged with manufacturing, distribution, and delivery with intent to sell controlled substance. As best I recall from the court documents, he was basically Walter White, selling meth, cooking meth and selling meth. He got a sentence of 344 days for that, or 23 months. Time incarcerated, 344 days, plus parole. At 24 years old, Mr. Charles McNeel, our lovely UFO whistleblower, graduated to armed bank robbery. In 2009, he did the first bank heist, second-degree robbery, involving the infliction of threat to inflict immediate bodily injury. In 2010, there was a jury trial for that bank robbery, and he was found guilty. He got a sentence of 3 to 10 years, and for violating parole from the manufacturing charge. He was cooking meth. They said you can't reoffend. Now you're on parole. What does he do? He goes and robs a bank during his probationary period. So this time for he got a consecutive sentence of 1 to 5 years. He was incarcerated in Pennsylvania. At 27 years old in 2012, he got parole from Pennsylvania. 22 days later, he's arrested in Maryland for a second bank robbery charge. Robbery, 2 counts, 4th-degree burglary, theft between $1,000 and $10,000, and an assault in the second-degree charge. 2013, while awaiting trial for bank robbery number 2, he was in prison, and he sent letters and coerced a minor, giving her all the plans to rob another bank. And so he coerces a minor to attempt bank robbery number 3. And he got hit with more charges. Not very bright, this Charles McNeel. Soliciting armed robbery, soliciting robbery, contribute to a delinquent minor. At 29 to 30 years old, he was found guilty of bank robbery number 2 and got a sentence of 20 years. Guilty of coercing a minor, consecutive 20-year sentence. He attempted escape from the prison. He was charged and found guilty. Sentence, another consecutive 10 years. So he had a total of sentence of 50 years incarceration. Not very bright. And just for the benefits of other researchers, we're sharing all of the court documents which prove that this breakdown of all of his charges that we have given to you is completely and totally correct and factually accurate. So here, from his whistleblower document, he admits, I was in an off-again, on-again relationship with a girl 3 years younger than I, from when I was 17 to when I was 24. It's still it's still considered, statutory R. He said, I stole 2 vehicles. And then he said, this daughter ran away, and a few days later were found sleeping naked under a blanket. And he got hit with a misdemeanor corruption of a minor charge. Should have been statutory R. They were able to have me listed as a sex offender. So this gentleman, if he ever gets out of prison, he has to register as a registered sex offender. And he admits that they're off again, on again relationship when she was 21 and I was 24. So here's more of the court documents showing his sentences and the disposition of the cases. Here's a couple of news articles. Bank robber gets 20 more years for soliciting teen for PA bank heist. Convicted bank robber who solicited a 16-year-old girl to rob a bank in Chambersburg last year was sentenced to serve 20 years in prison on Thursday. Great. And here he is, so proud of the fact that Richard Doty is co-signing. Retired United States Air Force intelligence officer who worked Office of Special Investigations, Richard Doty, has publicly confirmed that I received 8 clandestine briefings about aliens and UFO information and technologies. He does not publicly confirm the information that I have blown the whistle on recently, but he does acknowledge that I did receive these briefings. I'm receiving a lot of hate on Twitter, because everybody found out he was a chomo. So Rick Doty has some explaining to do. How was a guy who was in and out of prison verified as placed within U.S. intelligence and confirmed to have received briefings on top secret subjects? Richard Doty tweeted, first of all, there is no classification above top secret. Secondly, the United States Space Force uses U.S. Air Force ranks, not Navy ranks. Searching the base for AFOSI agents doesn't list a Charles McNeel. There is a Chandler McNeel. And then Richard Doty backpedals. I must correct my previous statement about this document. I just spoke to the whistleblower who authored this document. He is, in fact, a real person. Okay, so here he is confirming that this bank robber is, in fact, a real person who worked within U.S. intelligence. I have verified his name and placement within U.S. intelligence. Although I cannot verify everything he states, I believe he is speaking the truth. So isn't that interesting? We have Richard Doty co-signing for this literal career criminal. So this whistleblower, this UFO whistleblower, is literally a career criminal. I'll take a moment to recognize a kind and generous person with one for the goal. Corey Jeffrey, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And thank you for supporting the show and helping us to praise the cash, friends.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right, little light tonight. Let's see if we could get 25 more of them. There's another one, Inspector Bloor. 40 minutes in, and I'm the second dono. You're all broke, says Inspector Bloor. Yeah, must be a bunch of brokies tonight. What are you going to do, right? Sometimes it's like that. We go by the law of averages, though. But thank you, Inspector Bloor, who's a long-term show supporter and not a brokey.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Rex Holes 689 on Kick says, it's crazy that he got caught. Everyone knows teenage girls can keep secrets the best. Well, thank you for that. So let me see 1 second. What is it? What are we going to do here next? I have, so interestingly, this person is sharing long debunked fake shit, essentially. So the funny part about this whole situation is not only is he a career criminal and a child molester, and has been in and out of prison for most of his adult life, but he claims he got these top secret briefings about aliens and UFOs, but yet everything that he shares is completely and totally debunked fake shit from years ago, as if he knows nothing about UFO mythology or lore. I believe that this is just a con, a scam. He knew that people would give him money. So here I'm going to share this on my screen. He says, I will now authenticate a legitimate photograph of a UFO in Florida from 1988. You said you wanted a real clear picture of an actual craft? Well, here you go. This photograph has been enlarged and light enhanced to produce the clearest quality possible from the original Polaroid. No other alterations. This is a famous case where somebody photographed a model of a UFO. This is complete and total horseshit. It's been debunked out the wazoo. And the person who claimed to take the photograph sold their house. After the new buyer bought the house, they were going through the house and they found several models of this UFO that match exactly to the photographs. Not close, not nearly the same, exactly to the photograph. So this one has been completely and totally debunked. If you're a real whistleblower and you got top secret briefings, wouldn't you know the difference between a hoaxed UFO photo taken of a model and a real UFO photo? I would think that you would, but he didn't. And here is another one. He says, I have been able to authenticate this telescopic footage as legitimate. And here's where it gets interesting. He says, my CGI expert, he's got CGI experts in prison, and my videographer. This guy's got a whole staff of people working for him while he's in prison? Bullshit. Anyway, he says that the CGI expert and the videographer have been able to conclude that this video that's been out for a while now is not fake. It has not been altered. This is legitimate footage taken from a telescopic lens. We have been able to rule out satellites as well as both private and above-board space programs around the world. We've been able to rule out atmospheric phenomenon and any type of light-bending phenomenon. He goes on to say, I am authenticating this as legitimate footage of something next to the moon that is not in Earth's atmosphere. That is completely unidentified at this time. Enjoy. So, wow, it looks like a pretty good photograph, and our prison-based UFO whistleblower is authenticating it. After all, he had top secret briefings, and he's got a CGI expert and a videographer that determined that this is a totally legitimate, real footage of a UFO around the surface of the moon. But there's a big problem with this one. I have the debunks here. So this thing that he shared, I found the original source, and it is from a CGI artist. This is where he took this from. It's CGI. It's computer generated. It's not real, Charles McNeel, you fucking moron. And what about your videographer? What about your CGI expert? I found this in 5 minutes by doing a reverse Google image search. And this is the original video that he took the still image from. Suffer, fake whistleblower. So this is where it comes from, and this is the YouTube account of a CGI artist who makes fake videos. And Charles McNeel is putting this out saying, I'm a UFO whistleblower and I've authenticated this. This is totally real, totally real. Again, we'll go back to this is what he shared, and we'll go back to the debunk. It's the same. It is the same. It is the same source. So this moron, Charles McNeel, this fraud, this chomo bank robber criminal, is in Twitter Spaces. He's promoting himself on Twitter. He's asking the UFO community for money due to his current situation. And he's sharing completely and totally fake shit. This is completely and totally manufactured. It's a fake video by a CGI artist. It appears to be telescopically generated, but this is all fake. It's an illusion. So I found that very interesting, that our fake whistleblower doesn't know the difference between a real UFO and a completely and totally fake UFO. But there's more. This one, he says, absolutely insane New Year's Eve footage. This is Rio de Janeiro. And again, he says, my CGI expert and my videographer, who I believe in to the fullest, help me debunk footage every week. He's never posted a debunk of anything. That's how you know he's full of shit. There's plenty of things to debunk. And if he's debunked stuff with this CGI expert and videographer, I mean, who's the CGI expert? Tyrone in the cell next to him? You know? Who's this videographer? Somebody else in a prison cell nearby him? He says, they have tirelessly combed over this footage for 4 days. They went pixel by pixel and explained it to me in terms so technical it's like a foreign language to me. Long story short, they have concluded this footage to be unaltered, undoctored, and 100% legitimate. So I'm sharing it with you now. I can count 10 obvious craft moving at enormous speed, one after another, while the fireworks are going off. And it looks like they were already coming past when someone had started filming, so there's no telling how many went by beforehand. There have been many people that came forward and said this footage was faked. And that's why my experts spent so much time and energy on it first. This footage is not faked. Anybody who says that, they're absolutely unequivocally incorrect. This is also not missiles, rockets, or any type of firework or projectile. They have all been ruled out. Well, there's a problem with this one as well. And we'll see what the problem is. So here's the footage that he's sharing that he claims are UFOs. This is the footage of the UFOs. So-called UFOs. But there's a huge problem with this. There's a huge problem with this being UFOs. Huge problem. These are not UFOs, friends. The film is sped up by a factor of at least 30 times. So somebody took this footage and then they sped it up by a factor of 30. And the objects that are seen going towards the middle, not exactly the middle right of the frame here, those objects are actually airplanes coming in for landing at a nearby airport that was geolocated to be within a few miles of where this footage was taken. So, again, Mr. Charles McNeel gets caught sharing completely and totally fake UFO footage that he claims his experts authenticated. It is ridiculous. Mr. Prisoner, you got to do better with your fake shit. So we've got him busted 3 times now. Tales of the Sonic's Voyage with one for the goal. AKA Steven69. Yeah, that's me now. Get over it. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us.
You're watching Truth Seekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
And there we have it. Thank you, Tales of the Sonic Voyage, who's a longtime show supporter. Yeah, Richard Warner says, because he has a staff, he has people. Yeah, he's got Tyrone in the jail cell next to him is authenticating the UFO footage that he's sharing. So this has been completely debunked. It's on Metabunk. And thank you, Tales of the Sonic Voyage. Yeah, Dave B says, yeah, he has experts. I got your name. What do you think about that? The most beautiful clown ever, says Anna Louisa. Yeah, it's his 9th birthday next week. I'm feeling like time is going by way too fast, Anna Louisa. I remember bringing him home from the hospital and taking care of him as a baby. Amy WC is here with 5 and says, was thinking about going out to a movie. This is better usually. Yeah, just get some popcorn, your favorite beverage, and relax. Thank you for helping us.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, Amy WC. Much, much appreciated. And we'll check in with the Kick chat as well. 1 second. Dashboard. I'm still learning to navigate this Kick thing. Oh boy, we got Good Goy has just become a subscriber. On Kick, Good Goy has become a subscriber. One moment. There we go. Let me. I don't know why I always get an echo. I apologize. But thank you, Good Goy, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated.
Praise the gas, praise the gas, praise the gas. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the gas, praise the gas, praise the gas.
There we have it. Thank you for the Kick support. Much, much appreciated, especially because Kick only takes a few %, unlike some other platforms. That when I see the Vic, it makes me sad. Yeah, so this completely debunked. Let's move on to the next one. And I just think it's funny that not only is this guy a bank robber and a criminal, but he's, sharing this stuff. Amazing UFO caught on video in the Middle East escaping 2 guided missiles fired at it. This video was sent to me today, and after hours of having it being evaluated by my CGI expert, we have concluded this to be authentic footage. It is undoctored and not altered. Spoiler alert, this is another fake one. So here is the footage that he's sharing. Ooh, spooky. So all we have to do is look at the community notes. He got community noted. It is not a UFO, unidentified flying object, as the object has been identified as a Houthi missile that struck in Tel Aviv in December of 2024. This moron is sharing missiles, claiming that they're UFOs. So that's 4 strikes. Our fake whistleblower has now been caught with 4 completely and totally fake UFOs. And remember, he's getting all these intelligence, top secret briefings, and he has CGI experts and videographers that are helping him determine this. The community notes itself show you that these are fake. I believe in the last one, they show that there's a community note as well. Oh no, this one wasn't noted. Yeah, that one we had to find. Okay, well, let's go to the next one. Okay, so we're done with the debunks. We have clearly established four strikes. This guy has shared completely and totally fake information, claiming them to be UFOs. He's a career criminal. He's in Maryland State Prison right at this time. And of course, there's a profit-driven motive for this individual. He says, anonymous donations here. Hundreds of my supporters have reached out asking for a way to donate anonymously to help me with my situation, attorney's fees, daily needs, etc. So at the request of my followers, here is how. That's right. Our fake whistleblower has a buy me a coffee where you could support him. And look at this. I don't know. I thought buy me a coffee was $5, but apparently in his, the minimum amount you could send to him is $25, right? And he says, hi, my name is Charles McNeel, and I'm a confirmed whistleblower on the subject of UAP, UFO, ET, and non-human intelligence. I'm trying to get Congress to get me in a position to implement the technologies I've been releasing, they will literally save the world and everything in it. My goal is to do that as well as to stop what's coming before it gets here. Thank you for helping me try to be in this position. It makes to make that a reality. So, profit-driven motive. We will find with most of these of my favorite fake whistleblowers, there's always a profit-driven motive. This guy's sitting in a prison cell. Apparently, he's broke, right? And he's looking for money to make his life inside prison a little bit better. Now, not to get too personal, but I have several family members who have spent significant time in prison. My uncles, my mother's brothers were both in the pagan motorcycle gang. And I remember my mother would send them a little bit of money every week because then they could get stuff at the prison commissary and not have to eat so much of the gross, prison food. And I remember that if she forgot to send the money, they would like freak out. They would call the house and look for where's your mom? She didn't send any money this week. And then my father found out that she was sending them money, and that didn't go too well for my mom, but those were her brothers. What is she going to do? And she wasn't, to the best of my recollection, she wasn't sending them a lot of money, $20, $30 a week goes a long way when you're buying ramen noodles and, Vienna sausages and I don't know, Doritos, I guess. I don't know what they eat in prison, never been, and hope to never be. So what we see in this phenomenon of fake UFO whistleblowers, what we see is that there's always a profit-driven motive. This guy is literally conning people on Twitter Spaces. He's posting completely and totally fake UFOs that have been debunked, easily debunked. So I would say, buyer beware. You have to be very, very cautious with these people. Because if you go into a space with this guy, he does sound convincing, I guess, to some people. He's very manipulative and a bit charismatic. I'll give him that. But so is a psychopath. A psychopath is very charismatic and manipulative. Angel Maker says Stephen owes John Lear an apology. I don't believe so, but may he rest in peace. Child of God. God bless him, wherever he is. This phenomenon of fake UFO whistleblowers has gotten to this ridiculous point where a convicted PDF file and bank robber who tried to coerce a little girl into robbing a bank for him while he was in prison can somehow end up on the UFO Twitter Spaces circuit and convince people that he's a legitimate real whistleblower with the help of people like Richard Doty, a confirmed government disinformation agent. Yeah, I don't know who you are, Angel Makers. I don't have a problem with John Lear. I never did. I thought that the Bob Lazar story was completely and totally fake. I'm allowed to say that. And John Lear was a little bit of a wackadoo, God bless him. He said that he was killing monsters in Vietnam and there's 10,000 people living on the dark side of the moon. He went a little nuts towards the end of his life. But he was a fun guy. He really liked drugs and prostitutes. And, that's the way it is, right? So questions or comments for me about the UFO whistleblowers, please put them in all capital letters. I'm checking in with our goal, and we're way, way shy, but we're also way shy of a show here. So I guess we'll do the Whoa Buddies. I hope the Kino boys don't mind. But this presentation was originally prepared to be on Kino Casino. We never got to this one. This was one of those extra shows, and we're a little light this week. So I also prepared some Whoa Buddies. How many do we have? Wow, we've got 6 Whoa Buddies, and even though we didn't hit the goal, we're really light tonight. So I'll give you the bonus content, even without the goal being hit. Oh, this was one of my favorite. I hope nobody's easily offended because these were meant for the Kino audience and their little dark side humor. Indrid Cole says, Suffolk Casino. I don't think they'll mind. They didn't want to use this stuff. They have their own. Yes, our goal. I learned that from watching Dark Side Phil. It's not my goal. It's our goal, right? Thank you. Angel Maker says, keep up the good work, Stephen. God bless you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your generosity. Yes, I am a very generous king here of the Truth Seekers realm. All right, so this is our whoa buddy. So this girl posts this on Instagram, freshly shaved and ready to be railed. She posts this on Instagram, freshly shaved and ready to be railed. And look what somebody. Oh no, they found her mother. They found this girl's mother on Instagram. Whoa, buddy. Oh no, don't message your mother. Is this your daughter, freshly shaved and ready to be railed? Holy, whoa, buddy. Oh no. I'll go to the next one. All right, this is something else. Lucretia, let me make this bigger. A healthcare worker in Georgia was arrested and charged after filming herself twerking on disabled people in multiple video clips. She was charged with 1 count of exploitation of a disabled person. Holy, whoa, buddy, look at this shit. Oh no, what is she doing to him? Holy jeez, he's disabled, lady. Don't put your pussy in his face. Oh no. No, what are you doing? Oh, she got arrested for making videos like this. And this is the mildest one that I could play you. I found the rest. They're worse. Look at this bitch. Holy, whoa, buddy. All right, we'll go to the next one. Okay, now this one is my favorite because this is the grossest thing I've ever heard a woman say about a boyfriend or what. Oh my God, this is bad. This is a whoa, buddy. This one makes me want to vomit. It really makes me want to vomit. But let's go through it.
Once my boyfriend was asleep, so I wanted to go fuck my ex real quick, so I drove down to the gas station, let him cream pie me, and then I came home to sneak into bed. My boyfriend woke up and then wanted to fuck me, and he started eating me out and told me how good my pussy tastes, and he's eating my ex's cum out of me, and I never told him.
Oh, whoa, buddy. She went and cheated on her boyfriend, let the guy cream pie in her, and then she went home and her boyfriend wanted to bang, and he was eating her out and told her how good her stuff tastes while he was licking jizz out of her snatch. Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy. That is gross. All right. Next. All right. See, there is some good news along with all the bad news in the world and gross women like the one we just saw. This woman is a bona fide hero, I would say. Look at the dedication. So her and her friend went out and got really shit-faced. But she wanted her friend to get home safe. Look at this shit.
Yo, you are a good ass friend.
I just had to get off of the chair and I was like, my legs were quivering. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I was like, the power of friendship.
The power.
You do good, you get
How far you gotta go?
You got it, sister.
You got it, sister. Carry your drunk ass friend home.
Sweetheart.
Get home safely, honey. Whoa, buddy. There's still friendship in the world. There's still good people in the world. It's good to see that. All right. Let's see. What is this one? Oh, this one's just gross. Whoa, buddy. What are you doing with your hand up your wife's ass? What are you doing with your hand up her ass, dude? It gets worse. Here, sniff it. Oh, whoa, no, this can't be real. People do this shit. How gross are you? And your wife's even grosser. What are you doing to your wife's asshole? What are you doing? No! No, here, smell it. Ew! Ew! Whoa, buddy, for real. Whoa, buddy, for real, man. All right, 2 to go.
Tire. I'm so aggravated. It's not even funny.
I think you have more than a flat tire. You have no tires at all.
You have no... This bitch is riding on 4 rims. She has no tires at all.
Roll the window down. Are you okay?
No, I'm okay.
What's going on?
I'm literally like trying to figure out where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm figuring out my situation.
The car is completely totaled, and I found a tire of yours in the middle of the pike. And then I saw you fly by me.
My car is not totaled. So
Hit another vehicle, or what did you hit?
Absolutely.
My car is not totaled. She has no tires on her car. They're all shredded. And one of them came off on the highway, and the officer chased her down. This bitch is crazy.
But not just the curb.
So you've been driving it like this for 3 weeks?
Yeah, it just got a flat like tonight.
Oh, can you do me a favor and step out here?
I sure can. I didn't do anything wrong.
Get out of the car, drunk bitch.
This tire already was like having an issue, so I already knew that.
Okay.
This tire, no idea.
I don't think a curb's gonna do that.
This isn't from this. My car was already like this. I have a police report. This isn't from today.
This is one of the tires.
This bitch is riding down a highway with 4 shredded tires. She has no tires left. They're barely holding. One in the back is barely holding on. The one in the front passenger side is completely off of the car.
23rd.
So you've been driving your car like this for weeks.
Yeah.
I saw you driving by me at a high rate of speed.
Whoa, buddy.
No,
you turned down.
Because I was trying to get off of this. I don't know what's going on. I can leave the car here. I really don't.
Well, you're not going to be able to drive the car. Because it's definitely not drivable.
I'm gonna get...
Do you remember what you hit? And where?
So I was turning the corner and like I felt my car like hit the corner. This is everything to do with him.
Oh no.
Hold on 1 second.
Look at how shredded her tire was in the back. Jeez, boy. God.
I like hit the corner. This is
She's driving on the highway with her tires all shredded, barely holding on to the rims.
everything to do with him. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. You can breathalyze me if you need to.
Can you do me a favor?
You can breathalyze me, bitch. You're on drugs or something.
Step out here. Just hang tight up here. I'm just going to make sure your car's not stolen or anything, because it's...
My car is not stolen.
And then I'm going to check to make sure we don't have any hit and runs around here. And then,
Sure can. I don't want to drive this. I won't drive it.
You're not going to be driving this.
I understand
You can't.
that.
Whoa, buddy. All right, we have one that's just an image. This one is from Colin Rugg. New OnlyFans say they are banning the video of one of their creators having sex with 1,057 men, meaning the creator had sex with over 1,000 men for no reason. L of the Year award goes to this woman. The porn platform says they couldn't verify the ages of all of the 1,057 guys. The creator was planning on using the footage to promote her subscription. OnlyFans is a platform designed for creators who have completed our comprehensive onboarding process and choose to monetize their content, the platform said to the Daily Mail. To keep our community safe, OnlyFans also verifies the age, identity, and consent of all parties featured in explicit content on OnlyFans. We do not allow a large number of non-OnlyFans creators to be featured on an account, even where release forms have been provided. This bitch banged 1,000 dudes, and now she's not even going to get paid. This girl banged 1,000 dudes for nothing, and now she's not even getting paid. Soil Alpin says she's crazy. Yeah, ew, what a pig. Prison for the girl. Yeah, that girl who cheated on her boyfriend, that one's got to be prison time, right? I would think so. This is nasty, says Arlene. Well, it's kind of designed for the Kino crowd. They like nasty, right? I like nasty. I think it's funny. Soggy sandwich is what she is now. Could you imagine banging 1,000 dudes and thinking you're going to get paid for it? And you go through banging 1,000 dudes? That's one of those things. The Grifter Buster cinematic universe now extends to the world of porn. Well, not really. This is kind of an extra feature. This is the bonus content. Some whoa buddies. She slept with a father and son. Most were 16 to 17. Was in the UK. That is gross. There's still Fansly and many vids. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Blazing Mad says, I love this and I hope you do more of these in the future. You just need a bell. Well, I'm not taking the retard alert away from PPP. So, yeah. And we're going to call this one a quick one, I guess. I kind of thought that I had a little more material on Charles McNeel, but I don't think you need to see very much more to see that this guy is completely full of shit. And I'm getting a message on Twitter saying Charles McNeel was also selling crystals from the clink. Yes, I'm aware of that. So besides selling fake UFOs and begging for money, he is also selling crystals to stupid crystal hippie bitches. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it, right? Crystal hippie bitches galore. So, questions or comments for me, put them in all capital letters. Rotary Matrix. I thought it was Rotary Motion. Now it's Rotary Matrix. But either way, longtime show supporter Rotary Matrix just gifted one True Seekers membership, which is why you too should subscribe, because if you're in the live chat and a kind and generous person like Rotary Matrix gifts a membership, you could win one. Like H-Bomb. H-Bomb was gifted a membership by Rotary Matrix. So thank you very much, Rotary Matrix, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. We'll give you praise to cash. Thank you for making it rain up in here. All right. So questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters so that I know that you want me to share that on the screen. And Winter Soldier has gifted one subscription on Kick.com. And Winter Soldier, I noticed that you've been doing that a lot. So I just want to take a moment to recognize you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show, and helping us so many times to praise the cash, praise the cash, my friends. Garaji says, yet again, my clients, but at least they can pay, unlike Wilcock, who's broke and he's bald and he's gay. That's right. That's right. You need a verified phone number for Gifted to work? I'm not familiar with that. I wonder if Wilcock has noticed how many Stevens are on Twitter now. Well, there's an army. Any update on the Kick Only show date? Yeah, I keep having to push it back. I've just been very busy with the cabin, and I have 2 shows just about ready to go. But I'd like to have like 6 before I start them, because it takes a lot to collect all the clips. You can consider tonight kind of a bit of a preview of the material that we'll be seeing on the new Kick Only show, the Internet Insanity Circus. It's like Fallout with a vault full of Garys. Now they're unlimited Stevens. Yes. So Alpin is wondering, is CERN a concern? Some crazy stories coming out of there. Yeah, we should do a whole show on those, Soil Alpin. There's a lot of weirdness that's going on. They have Vishnu, the destroyer, outside of the facility. And I think I once talked to a physicist who told me there's like a very, very infinitesimal percentage of a chance that they could create a black hole and destroy the universe with that thing. I don't know why that's not a bigger problem, right? Long live the Stephen Legion, says Matt Murray. Long live the Grifter Busters. Is there a show tomorrow? Yes, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It may be the last show of the week, but I'm going to try to do one from the cabin. So we've been trying to do 3 to 4 a week. I'd like to do 4 or 5, but time is very short. I have some other things going on and other concerns, like getting the cabin ready for my wife. For those unaware, my wife is a stickler when it comes to the cabin being all cleaned up by the time she gets there. But the problem is that the cabin is a work in progress and I'm still building it. So she wants all the tools away, all the projects completed, the cabin clean, the yard clean. And she's making me do landscaping. And I'm kind of avoiding the landscaping portion. We're in the woods. What do I have to landscape? But I don't even know what she means. She keeps telling me that I need to do some landscaping at the cabin. So I think I'm going to put in a couple of flower beds and whatever just to calm her down off of that. Like, I don't know what else to do. I'm not planting grass or cutting grass at my cabin. No way. It's in the woods. There's woods and the cabin's surrounded by gravel and the fire pit is surrounded by gravel. You rotary matrix, you are right. She has to put up with me. I'm not easy to live with or deal with, But I think what it is, rotary matrix, is that the children like me. So she tolerates me because the children like me. Maybe she means thinning out trees close by it, Abdul Kanesh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I ought to ask her, what do you mean by landscaping? I've never asked her, but every year for the past 3 years, she's asked me to do some landscaping. And I'm like, what do you want me to landscape? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a flower bed on each side of the driveway. That's the only thing that I've come up with so far. And there is a beautiful tree, and that's sort of a meditation spot. It's a big pine tree, and there's a big Buddha statue under it. But it's just woods over there, so maybe I'll put some, I don't know, mulch down and some flowers in or something. I don't know. Move a rock from here to there. Landscaped. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, you're in the woods. You don't landscape woods, Oh, and I have my Sasquatch and Son shirt on today. My son gave me this. I thought that was a great gift. Probably last Father's Day. And hey, Father's Day's coming up. So keep that in mind. I decided this year for Father's Day, I'm buying myself a wood-fired pizza oven. Make sure that you get that gift that you want for Father's Day. I'll give it to my kid, wrap it up here. Give this to me when you give me the gifts. Make sure you can clear a fire perimeter around your property. Yeah, we're very safe, and I have fire extinguishers and whatever. So have you ever thought about covering the Creator Clash grift? I know everyone is doing it, but it might help you algorithm-wise. Good idea. I mean, I'll put it on the list. Put in stuff that you don't have to constantly work on. Yeah, but everything you constantly have to work on. That's why I don't like landscaping, Arlene. If I put in bushes, I'm going to have to trim them every year. I thought about planting some rose bushes, but then you got to trim them every year. And at my old house in the city, we had a nice garden we had a big yard for the city. And I put in, right after my father died, my mother was very depressed. And my father had started planting flowers and things and flower beds for my mother, but then he got sick and suddenly died, and she was very depressed. So I put in all kinds of roses, every color, yellow, white, red, pink, striped, all these different roses. But then after a couple of years, they grow up and you got to trim them. And that's not fun, trimming rose bushes, because you just get attacked by the thorns while you're doing it. So I don't know. We'll come up with something, though. It was nice. The flower garden at my old house was nice, but it was a lot of maintenance. Azaleas are native to the woods, don't have to do much. Yeah, I thought about tiger lilies too. But the problem with planting anything is that the deer rip everything up and eat it. I planted bulbs before, tiger lily bulbs, along the road. And deer came and they ate the tiger lilies as soon as they bloomed. And then they even dug into the dirt and ate the bulbs. So that was the end of the tiger lilies. But azaleas may be a good idea. Kyle Loam says, hey, new to the community, ever look into the Y-Files, Steve? My old man is convinced 90% of it is true. I'm not a big fan of the way the Y-Files guy does his show. He basically knows that stuff is fake, but he still presents it as, hey, it may be true, so that he can grift off both sides of the equation. I'm kind of like, pick a lane. If the story's fake, tell your audience that. But he kind of, maybe I'm being too harsh, but that's just my perception. Not a fan of the Y-Files guy, especially he was just on Rogan telling everybody that he thinks Bob Lazar is real. he has not done enough research. I think the guy's a nice guy, good show host, obviously talented when it comes to production, but he's got a whole production team around him. And also, I think that his research is about as shallow as a pie pan on most of the stuff that he covers. He doesn't dig deep enough. And he also took material directly. Maybe this is why I don't really like the guy. He took material directly from me, and he didn't even give a link back to my channel or thank me or whatever. I'm fine. You can take whatever you want. It is fair use. You don't really have to credit me, but it's just nice. If you're going to take something from a fellow creator, credit them. By the way, the Richard Doty clip came from, let me be sure, it came from one of them. It came from Red Panda Koala, so thanks to him. And I know there's some drama with him and Moran Lerner that people want me to cover. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Maybe we'll get him on, though. So people are saying that Red Panda Koala was using a fake account to threaten and intimidate people. Science Evidence Fringe says the Y-Files is entertainment. Well, I try to be as well, but, And the material that he took from me is Corey Good material that I know he took it from me because my channel was the only channel that had the material that he took from. I knew right away that he took the videos from me, and he didn't credit us. And like I said, I'm fine with anybody taking something from me. It is fair use, but it's just general courtesy. If you're going to take a big chunk of somebody's work, you at least credit them. And he could have done that, and we could have got some subscribers out of it, but he chose not to. And I guess you can imagine why. Yes, there's something that stinks there. Yeah. You should get an audio of that. Okay, and play it on here. Yeah, maybe. Rotary Matrix is mentioning Mirage Men. Yeah, that's a great documentary about disinformation. Yeah, the Y-Files tells you everything is fake at the end. So he grifts all the way up to the end and then tells you the whole story is fake. I don't know. Maybe I should start doing that. You know what? I'm going to try it. We'll take a case and we'll do 2 parts. The first part, I'm just going to tell you the story as if it's real and true. And then in the second part, I think that's pretty much his format. Then he does a second video and he tells you why it's fake. One of those things, But God bless him. Child of God. I wish everybody the best. I try not to be jealous, but I do think that guy went from 0 to huge channel overnight. I didn't see that guy grinding with 20 viewers for 2 years. Maybe it's just me. Some people, I think that guy was like a media professional of some type. At least this is what I've heard. Like he was a producer or videographer or editor or something. So maybe it's just that he's talented at the sizzle, and so he didn't have to do the normal grinding. I don't know. But like I said, I've watched a few of his pieces and enjoyed them, I guess. It is what it is. Somebody in Rotary Matrix says he's an asset. Yeah. He mentioned on Joe Rogan that people accused him of being a CIA asset. But his channel really did blow up overnight to be a huge, huge channel. But, I try not to get jealous of people like that. I go, well, if he can do it, I guess anybody can do it. You just need the right ingredients. And this fucking algorithm, I don't know how to please the algorithm. Clickbait, I guess. But we don't really do that here, or at least we try not to do too much of that, or, I don't know. I don't understand myself why we do some videos and they get 5,000 views. And then, on pieces I work, when it bothers me or frustrates me is you can check down in our video section, this piece called The Others. I worked on that for weeks, writing it all out and planning it and the animations and all of that. I worked on that for a long, long time. It didn't break 1,000 views. I could have went live and talked about anything and broken 1,000 views. And that's another thing. It seems like, I guess because we've established ourselves as a live streaming show, that if people know it's pre-recorded, a lot less people show up to see it. They're not interested in pre-recorded. At least people seem to be less interested in pre-recorded videos from me. and more interested in the live streams. But I get it. People get used to that interaction and the pre-recorded stuff. YouTube Shorts is what I heard is key as of late. Yeah, that's another one, and this is a you should. Maybe you should do shorts, Stephen. We did for months, and we made no money. I made 12 cents off of making every short that you see in our shorts section. So at some point, it's like, do I really want to spend all this time to make 12 cents? You know, did it really help our channel? I really don't think so. So Alpin says he's a failed actor. He looks bitter and in a great position. I don't trust him. Yeah, I didn't know that. I knew he had something to do with Hollywood or something, you know. Only way your show works is in its full format, says Abdul Kanesh. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it sure would be nice, though, if I could... there's a video of how the algorithm works, if you care about that. Yeah, maybe I should be doing more research. No shorts. Shorts are turning YouTube into TikTok. And Arlene says, I despise shorts and I ignore them most of the time. Anna Louisa, I don't watch shorts. Yeah. Vagina Girl shorts getting 1 million views. Great. He already had a tie to Joe Rogan through his brother. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know. But hey, there but for the grace of God go I. You know, maybe someday Joe Rogan will get pissed off and tired of all the bullshitters that he constantly platforms and want to hear the real story behind some of these stories. One thing I notice about Rogan is that he just repeats UFO grifter talking points and he doesn't actually research those points. He just repeats them as if they're true, not knowing that a lot of the things that he's repeating is literal disinformation, misinformation, and fake. But I like Joe Rogan when he has anybody that's not a UFO person. Like, I like his show, especially when he has comedians. I think, you know, like when he has Theo Vaughn or, you know, Joey Diaz or any of his comedian friends. I find those shows highly enjoyable. But I can't watch the UFO stuff because he hosts the known grifters and UFO celebrities. And it just drives me crazy trying to watch, you know, hearing him soak this up like it's gospel. Red Bar is the man for exposing all the comedian grifting. I wasn't aware of that. You should send me some links to my email, truthseekershow@gmail.com. Rotary Matrix says paid asset. £1 million deal on Spotify. Do you mean Joe Rogan? Yeah, he got a $300 million deal. Imagine getting a deal where you're just going to get a check for $333 million. Blazing Mad. I think if anyone could show Joe Rogan the harsh truth, it would be you. And I think he could debate you. And if you best him, you'd be a regular. Yeah, well, you know, I was once in touch with his producer, Jamie. I would send Jamie short clips because I know that Rogan doesn't have time to watch me do a 12-hour live stream on why something is fake. So I was clipping them and sending them when I would notice that he was, you know, kind of lost down the rabbit hole. Got another question, veteran of the conspiracy community. Why is there a giant glut of black guys reacting to conspiracies? Not even being racist, the majority of stuff my old man watches. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen too many black guys doing that. Richard Warner says he does like the UFO grifter crowd. Well, part of me doesn't blame him. Look, I just heard Tim Pool, who had fucking Ashton Forbes on his show of all people. And at first I was pissed off, but then Tim Pool said, like, I don't really care if those videos are real or fake. It's just interesting and it's fun to talk about. And I guess that's a valid defense, you know, like same for Joe Rogan. He likes talking about UFOs. It's an interesting topic. His audience likes it. So let's get some people in here to talk about UFOs. You're going to have some people that are full of shit, you know. For example, Rogan once did a podcast with Dr. Stephen Greer. He took it down because he realized Greer was completely and totally full of shit. So he didn't leave it up. UFO grifter crowd is good money, and Rogan isn't really endorsing them. Yeah, it's one of those things. Tim Pool, don't go there. I interviewed one of his co-hosts here once, Amy WC, Ian. I interviewed Ian here. It's in our archive. And it's funny, when he came on the show, I thought I was going to get a huge bump because, Tim Pool gets 100,000 live viewers, but nobody cared when Ian came here and did an interview. And it was kind of an awkward interview because, except for talking about graphite and open source, we didn't have very much in common to talk about. He's a nice guy, though. Interesting fellow. And God bless him, Grifter dents are cultish. They follow and pay. Well, that's part of the problem here. I'm not giving people fairy tales. So the way that the UFO grifter shows work is that they reinforce people's desires and belief systems. And people are willing to pay for that. Like, oh, thank you for telling me that this whole UFO thing is totally real and the aliens are visiting us, and they throw money at these guys. We have to work a little harder, right? Tim Pool is easy to dislike. I don't know. I think he's okay, it's one of those things. So we're going to call this one a quick one, and I'm going to bounce on out of here. But I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have another great show for you. I have something interesting planned for tomorrow. We're going to take a moment to thank Gentleman's Relish, who became a Kick subscriber. So thank you, Gentleman's Relish, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. I am blown away by all of the support. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Everybody on Kick and YouTube, Gentleman's Relish, thank you for your kindness and helping us to...
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yeah, we're going to praise the cash a lot harder. For those unaware, I was thinking that I was going to buy a decent used four-wheel drive vehicle, and I wanted to spend around $5,000, but it turns out you're not getting a decent used four-wheel drive vehicle for $5,000. So I may have to spend $10K. I don't know. And honestly, I don't have that. So, yeah, we're going to be praising the cash hard, trying to make that happen. The cabin is in the mountains. And in the winter months, I would really like to go there every weekend and either write or do something else, work on the show. But many weekends, if there's really bad weather, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that my two-wheel drive car will not make it from the main road through the dirt roads, these winding mountain roads, into the actual cabin. And once I risked it, and I ended up in a ditch. It took two tow trucks to drag me out of my car out of the ditch. Luckily, I wasn't hurt or anything, but that's pretty scary, sliding down a hill and ended up in a ditch in the woods. So, really like to get a four-wheel drive vehicle. I hear once you have a four-wheel drive vehicle, you never want to be without one. And I can imagine that that's the case. It's just much safer, especially in bad weather. And then there's the other cabin, which is literally in the woods and really difficult to get to. I've been hiking 6 miles round trip to the other property, or taking my bike. Now I have an off-road e-bike. It's going to be a little easier than it used to be pedaling, but we'll see what happens. So we have done our due diligence. Let me know in the comments or in the live chat if you'd like to see more of this type of show covering my favorite fake whistleblowers. I think I have a few more in mind that we can cover. But like I said, I'll be back tomorrow night. Make sure that you, pinned in both live chats, is our Truth Seekers Clips channel. Please do go over there and subscribe if you have not already. I would certainly appreciate it. There's more ways to support the show other than throwing money at me. That could be a great way to do it. Go over there and subscribe so that we could get that monetized and try to praise the cash a little harder, right? And also, be sure to visit our website. It's truthseekershow.com. From there, you can get all the latest episodes, whether you want audio or video format. They're all there. And follow me on X or Twitter at Stephen Cambion. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
shattering all your dreams. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Shadows try to hide, no place for them to bide. Light will pierce you through, reveal what is true. Running from your fears, can't escape the sears. Truth will hunt you down, tear apart your crown. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes.
If I call your mother a hooker, I don't care. If I call your mother a hooker, I don't care. If I call your mother a hooker, I don't care. If I call your mother a hooker, I don't care. I'm an intel guy. 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 I don't care. I'm an intel guy. That we're making movies and video games out of. My spirit guides from me. They came from me. They came from me. They came from me. Creative arts that we're making movies and video games out of. My spirit guides from me. They came from me. They came from me. They came from me. Dream revolution, whatever you want to call it. I call it my intellectual property. Dream revolution, whatever you want to call it. I call it my intellectual property. Dream revolution, whatever you want to call it. I call it my intellectual property. Dream revolution, whatever you want to call it. I call it my intellectual property. Dark Fleet is a fictional space group out in space. It is the story. It is the story. It is the story. It is the story. Dark Fleet is a fictional space group out in space. It is the story. It is the story. It is the story. It is the story. Yes, I did make up stories about the secret space program out in space. Yes, I did make up stories about the secret space program groups. Yes, I did make up stories about the secret space program out in space. Yes, I did make up stories about the secret space program groups.